there. I would agree if we're talking about a business to a business. And while the hospital is a business, what they're doing with the development makes them a developer. So they're in a somewhat of a different realm. We're interacting with them as we do other developers, and we have been cooperative. Again, all I'm asking is just a bit of time to step back and to do a review.
Okay. Even though we closed the public hearing, I think since we did and there was no discussion prior to that, the applicant would probably like to make a comment, I would imagine, if 2 weeks is going to be a hindrance or if 2 weeks will be okay. You can come on up. If you can give your name and address for the record, please.
Mark Uffer, Corona Regional Medical Center, 800 South Main Street, Corona. 2 weeks will be a problem for us since we've already received permits to start the MRI relocation project. This is a very, it's like dominoes that start to fall. We've spent over $3 million as a company to get to this point. We just spent $1.6 million to buy a new MRI, another $300,000 to buy a modular building for that MRI. We've already started the process of drawing on the parking lot where the contractors are going to come in and start tearing out parking spaces and tearing down a portion of the building where the modular building is going to go. That started Monday. We have permits already pulled for that. We have OSHPD just released the relocation of the nuclear medicine camera to the respiratory therapy department, which is in the basement. We'll probably have the permits for that Friday. So, I mean, this is a very phased project. I was talking to somebody this morning because they were questioning, why we're doing it in phases. So I explained to them on the hospital census last year, August 31st, was 62 patients in the main campus. August 31st of this year, it was 82. That's 20 additional patients. Every month we delay just slows us down on our ability to add floors and add space for patients. We're, part of the project is the ED, but the first floor above it is for 30 additional med-surg patient beds. We're already at that 30. That's why UHS is building it in phases. On my desk, Jeff and I worked for the last 2 weeks to get a medical office building pricing structure in place. We've looked at another building on Main Street to potentially create a medical office building if we don't get this project approved. It's actually better to build this on the campus. We have 3 new UCI physicians that started this week. They're looking for a home. There's no medical office space available. We've got to get this project moving. I think that slowing it down is detrimental to the citizens of this community. We've all waited for the project as hospital employees. We've spent the last 2 years getting to this stage. I can't find any rational reason to slow it down. You may not like the fact that it's a phased approach, but that's just how hospitals do business. If you go over to Riverside, they have a $750 million project to add a tower. They're using shell space as well. I mean, UHS is totally committed to this project. My fear is if we start slowing it down, we're sending a message to the corporate office that we don't want the project to go forward.
Dick, go ahead and stay close at hand, just in case.
I think that the Haley boys have been in the ER more than any other family in Corona, so I get it, okay? My question, not to you, sir, but to my colleagues is, what do we expect to achieve by sending it back to committee? I get it. that I'm disappointed as well, okay? However, I don't own this hospital. I don't own stock in it. I just a frequent flyer in the ER because of the Haley boys. But I have nothing to do with this independently owned company. This is not my company, okay? What do we expect as a city council? What can we get out of it if we slow this project down?
I mean, as Jason mentioned, I feel like we're dealing with a developer. I feel like we're dealing with, as they say, a business. And I would do this with any business when I feel like we're not getting what we're looking for. And answers, explanation, revision. I mean, just need to, I do this with anybody. I mean, I'm not treating them any special, in even a negative way. I think we apply this to anyone. We're just kind of not happy with what we got.
Unfortunately, Mr. Ufer is the CEO of the hospital?
Correct.
Okay. But he's not the CEO of UHS.
Oh, right. My issue isn't with
Okay,
him.
so that poor fella's in the middle.
No, I know he is. No,
You know?
my issue is with UHS, and that's where the problem. I know he's doing fine with what he's doing, and don't want to undermine what you're doing at all, especially the morale with the hospital. I think it's improving and everything, but my issue is with UHS.
Okay, that's fine. And as such, I really don't care about UHS. I care about the citizens of Corona, all of them. Okay?
But we're dealing with
Oh.
UHS, though, right?
But we are, but what good will it do to the citizens of Corona if we slow these people down?
Maybe it'll result in a better deal.
It's not going to result in any change. I can tell you that as sure as I'm standing here tonight. You know, this project, when I got here, I've explained to you before, this project was dead. It was not going to happen. UHS pulled the plug on this project when Riverside Medical Clinic decided not to affiliate with the hospital. This whole project was designed to bring a different medical group to the community. So when I got here, my staff said, look, you know, this is the project. I literally pulled it out from behind a cabinet, dusted off the blueprints, and went back to work on this. And I have been able, my team has been able to get UHS to commit to redoing the project. Part of this project was predicated on getting UC Irvine to come to this community. I mean, we're bringing top quality academic specialty physicians to this community. They have never seen the kind of quality that we're going to bring into this market. And they're here. There's 3 of them here this week. It's taken us 11 months just to get that affiliation completed and getting these doctors here. This is a good thing for the city. And I know that you didn't get the full package, but when I look at the drawings, they're not that dissimilar to the original project. The medical office building was spec'd at 120,000 square feet. We've cut it down to between 60 and 90,000 square feet. Why did we do that? The sheer cost of adding a parking structure. It's a huge cost to put that structure up. We'd like to use some of that RDA property for surface parking, but the city is conditioned that they want some kind of a medical entity that generates revenue for the city. Well, that drives us to a parking structure, and those things are not inexpensive to build. We've looked at alternatives. We've thought about buying the other medical office buildings around us and raising them to make street, more flat parking. We're doing everything we can. This is a good project for the citizens. The employees, there's a lot of employees that are very excited about this. And, they wanted to come tonight. But I said, we don't need 700 people parading in front of the city. But they're willing. The medical staff is willing to come and ask the city council why. This is a great project. And y'all know I've built one of these before, Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. I was there. And it was a $500 million project. And it was a white elephant when it was first built. We know what we're doing here. Not going to budge UHS, though. They're committed. They've given us this budget to work with. They want this project to go forward. Just let it happen. 2 weeks, slowing it down for 2 weeks just slows us down.
Go ahead, Jason.
So if I could respond to you, Councilmember Haley, I agree we need this for the city. And we've all been committed to having this for the city in support of our residents and the community and the region. When we talk about the process being slowed down, and I'm talking about, and I think Councilmember Fox is talking about 2 weeks, but yet we look at the master plan and that was it's being split in half. Phase 1 is being split in half, so it's being slowed down there. For whatever reason, and I'll give it to UHS, they need to do it in a phase, okay? So they're slowing it a bit. I don't know what that bit is, how long that will be. So us taking 2 weeks to pause, I think is reasonable. Another thing is that when we looked at the master plan when it came through, one of the things it had was a medical office building, 120, now we're talking 90, now we're down to 60. So there are changes taking place on the master plan. And I'm not saying they're bad, I'm not saying they're good. Hopefully they're good, and I believe you when you say this is a great thing coming. So I'm not even debating that. But we're, again, vacating a couple of streets and an alley. Because of these changes on the master plan, I just feel like 2 weeks is reasonable for us to step back for a moment and for me to be comfortable with it, Councilmember Fox, and have a chance to revisit it with staff. So that's all I'm asking for.
Go ahead.
Follow up with Mr. Haley, and my first comment was, what are we accomplishing in 2 weeks? You don't step back and not make a vote without doing anything to influence the vote. I'm not sure what we're stepping back, taking a breath, whatever. There's not time to go to committee. I don't know what you're doing in that 2 weeks that's going to change from tonight for 2 weeks.
Can we move, did you make a formal motion?
I did not. I don't know if Councilmember
Can we make,
Fox-
why don't we go ahead and make a motion to proceed?
I will make a motion that the City Council adopt Resolution Number 2015-067, ordering the vacation of a portion of 8th Street between Sheridan Street and Bell Avenue, a portion of Bell Avenue between 8th Street and 9th Street, and a portion of North-South Alley between 7th Street and 8th Street.
Do I have a second? I'll second it so we can vote. Please vote. Okay, thank you. And thank you. Obviously, there's still some discussion that needs to go on, and it might be helpful to have that discussion with a couple of the council members so that we can get everybody moving in the same direction. I think that's going to be the best possible for everybody concerned. So,
You have my total commitment and the team's total commitment that if we need to sit down with each one of you or your staff and get you up to speed on every aspect of the process, we're willing to do that. We're willing to walk you through it. We're willing to share the plans, the costs. We want this to be a good thing for the city and for the employees and for the patients that we're so dedicated to try to serve.
Thank you, and I think we just need to keep going in a positive direction. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.